This is a 6-axis robot arm with closed-loop NEMA 17 stepper motors and harmonic drive reducers. The arm itself is 272 millimeters from the second joint to the last joint and 440 millimeters from the ground. I have three main goals with this project: high payload capacity, low repeatability, and a simple and minimal design. In terms of simplicity, I don't think it gets much better than this. These are pretty much all the components in the arm, including the electronics. One key component are these harmonic drives by the company Zero Drive. They have a built-in cross-roller bearing, which is able to handle loads in all directions, so I don't need to incorporate any additional bearings in the arm. This is the bigger version with a 100-to-1 reduction. And this is the smaller model with a 50-to-1 reduction. And I'm also using these closed-loop stepper drivers by MakerBase. These have CAN communication, so the wiring is very simple. And it also helps reducing the electronic components. So I have two of these terminal blocks. One I'm using for the CAN communication, and the other one is for power. And then I have this USB CAN adapter, so I can control the robot from my laptop. PCBWay offered to sponsor this video by supplying some of the components. For example, this first link between joints 2 and 3, which is machined in 6061 aluminum with a clear anodized finish. Probably the most interesting part is the base of the robot, which is a sheet metal steel with welding included. If you're interested in mechanical design, you should check out this Reddit post, where I asked for feedback on how to design this sheet metal bracket. I received a lot of good comments. The process of ordering on PCBWay is very simple. You simply upload your step file, select the material. In this case, I chose mild steel. You can also preview the file in 3D. For sheet metal, you also need to select the thickness and then the finish. They have many options, but I went with black oxide for this part. They have options to add threaded holes and welding. For this, you will have to upload a 2D drawing. Here I specified where to add the welds and where the threaded holes are. Then some other parts that I received. This is the plate between joints 1 and 2, also in mild steel. And this is a plate between joints 4 and 5 in aluminum. This is what the first joint looks like. I'm using 2020 aluminum extrusions as the base of the robot, and then a 3D printed bracket to mount the second motor. This is a second joint with the aluminum arm. Then joint 3. The first 3 joints of the robot are using the larger harmonic drive with a reduction ratio of 100-to-1. Then from joint 4 and forward, we have the smaller harmonic drive. Even though we have a reduction of 50-to-1, the smaller harmonic drives are still backdraggable. This is a fully assembled robot with all 6 joints. The terminal blocks and the USB to CAN adapter are placed in the back, and everything will be hidden with a 3D printed cover. Initially, I was planning to use these 3D printed covers to protect the harmonic drives. Fortunately, Makera offered to send me their Carvera Air CNC milling machine so I could make these acrylic covers. Even with limited CNC experience, I was able to design and machine these covers very quickly. The Carvera Air comes with all the tools that you will need to get started, and it also has a really good manual that I was able to follow easily. One really nice feature of this machine is this laser probe, which scans the area that is going to machine before starting. And then it automatically finds the Z height of your stock component. I also designed this end effector probe, so I can use it to do repeatability measurements. Fortunately, they also sent me the 4th axis module, which is perfect for making a part like this. On my first attempt, I used Fusion to create a toolpath. However, in Fusion, the rotary operation is not free. So basically what I did is just machine one side, flip 180 degrees with the 4th axis, and then machine the other side. This didn't work very well. Probably the first mistake was that I didn't use a tailstock, so the stock wasn't supported on both sides. The stock ended up coming off before completing. On my second attempt, I used the Macquarie CAM software, which is free and has the rotary operation. I also made the probe much bigger, so I don't have to remove as much material. I am doing 2 passes. The first one will be a roughing pass, and the final one will be a finish pass. This ended up working much better as the tool is doing an actual rotary operation. However, I still made a mistake in the settings as the finish pass wasn't actually touching the stock, as you can see here. The final part still came out great, and I just had to do some light sanding. In terms of software, I'm using PyBullet to simulate the robot. I am just doing kinematics motion, so I'm not doing any physics simulation. And I made this custom GUI so I can interact with PyBullet and with a robot. So for example, I can set a specific target position by setting the Cartesian coordinates. And then PyBullet will automatically do the inverse kinematics and move the arm to that location. I have also developed my own inverse kinematics solver. And I've noticed that sometimes my own solver is better than PyBullet. So I added the option in the UI to use either. For example, I set the target to these specific X, Y, and Z positions and orientation. When I drive the simulation, there's about a 20 millimeter error between the robot end effector and the target position. However, if I run the custom inverse kinematics, the error is almost 0. So then I can drive the robot to the solution from the custom inverse kinematics. In the GUI, I can also jog either the robot itself or just the simulation. And I can do it by driving a specific joint or by driving Cartesian coordinates of the end effector. In the Keyframes tab, we can save the joint angles, and then we can play them back either in the simulation or the robot itself. And I added a couple of options like looping through the keyframes, doing a loop back and forth, or a auto sync option in which the program will calculate the joint speeds so that we reach each keyframe with all joints at the same time. And like I mentioned, in PyBullet, I'm just doing kinematics motion. So that's why the speeds between the simulation and the real robot are not in sync. There's also an option to interpolate between keyframes so that the end effector moves in a straight line. I will discuss this later in the video. And lastly, one other feature on this tab is the delay option, which allows me to pause the robot before moving to the next keyframe. To measure repeatability, I created a simple sequence in which I first press the robot end effector against a load cell, applying about 2 kilograms of force. From there, the end effector goes to press against the digital gauge, which has been previously zeroed out. The gauge reads 0 millimeters, so that means that the repeatability is under 10 microns. Before doing payload measurements, I did some rough estimations to get an idea of how much payload the robot can handle. The calculation is done based on the max average torque that each reducer can handle. This value is provided in the datasheet of each reducer. Then dividing that value by the arm length, I get the max payload for each reducer. And if I take the minimum value of all joints, that's 3.7 kilograms of payload. This is obviously just an estimate, as I'm not considering the weight of the robot itself or the torque of the motors I'm using. For the actual test, I mounted this dumbbell handle on the end effector so I could start adding weights. Starting with 2.75 kilograms, I can see the robot can handle the weight without trouble. This includes the weight of the bar itself, which is 500 grams. And I also tested with full extension in 45-degree steps. With an additional 2.25 kilogram plate is where the robot starts to struggle. I sent a 90-degree command to joint 6 and it can complete it without issue. But then when I do the same for joint 5, the robot cannot complete the command. Joint 5 has a reducer with 50-to-1 reduction, so this can be easily fixed by using a bigger reduction ratio. However, if I test the lower joint with a bigger harmonic reducer, the robot is able to move the weight. Here I am moving joint 2 in 30 degrees step. Looking back at the initial 3 requirements, I would say I was able to meet all 3 of them. However, the robot still has some major limitations. The first one being homing. Because I am not using a microcontroller, there's not really a good way to add homing sensor. So I have to rely on manual jog of the joints to set them in the initial position. Once the joints are home, it's not really a big issue as we are using a closed loop driver. But we still need to ensure that every time we start the software, the joints are in the correct position. The second limitation is perhaps a bigger deal, and this is the limitation of the robot to move in a straight line. This is because straight line motion requires to interpolate between 2 positions and to send commands at a really high rate to the robot. Here we can see how the end effector is moving in a straight line. So we're sending a lot of tiny position adjustments to the robot joints. However, driving the joints directly from my laptop over CAN is slow. I'm not able to go over 20 Hz before having communication issues. For reference, on a Skyra robot that I built with a ESP32 microcontroller, I am driving the joints at 20,000 Hz. I also tried to stream velocity commands to the joints instead of position. This worked a bit better, however, it's still not perfect as we can see in the video. Even at low speeds, we are not able to move the end effector in a straight line. Perhaps this can be improved with some tuning. However, I think fundamentally we just need a microcontroller to send pulse commands to the stepper motors. Once I add a microcontroller, I think this can be a very capable, high-performance robot arm. I calculated the total cost of the robot to be around $1,800, which sounds like a lot. However, if I compare it to this other industrial robot of similar size, which can only handle 500 grams, and a price of $17,000, then I don't think $1,800 sounds too high based on the performance that we get. The 3D files will be available on my website along with a list of components, and the code will be on GitHub. On my next video, I'm planning to use the Carvera Air to make a CNC cycloidal drive with a cross-roller bearing to hopefully make a high-performance DIY reducer.